I work at a company called Razorfish. If you don't know Razorfish, they are a full-service digital agency. We're global, and we're based in London. Here's a picture of a new office that we've moved into recently. Just enough space for one of those cloud platform rugs I saw outside, actually. If you're not familiar with the role, it's really simple, or it's meant to be. The key point of my role is to combine technology with creative thinking in order to create great or awesome consumer experiences. That's the idea. Why am I here today? I've got a story to tell about Google App Engine and our experiences with it. So let's get to it. This is what the next 20 minutes or so looks like. It's Razorfish and App Engine, a modern love story. Our story starts with a problem. We're going to go back in time a little bit to before 2010. So very interestingly, seeing what Tom just presented, we had a development problem. This is absolutely a representation from a production point of view, but we were spending way too much time and resources, people, on configuring our solutions in comparison to creating them, actually doing the work, what we were there to do in the first place. So the configuration, for example, is absolutely very similar to Tom's pyramid. It's the provision of hardware, potentially, so it's local environments. They could be cloud-based back then. It's application servers, operating systems, load balancing, seemingly endless software upgrades. Nearly every one of the developers will have a slightly different setup, which is always a recipe for disaster. This person is not dead or dying of boredom, by the way. That represents the 24/7 nature of a lot of the work that was going on there. So way too much time on this, not so much time on this, on actually creating. That's a problem. So there was a lot of discussion, a lot of talk, a lot of ideas about how we're going to solve that. It was very clear, really. We could distill that down into three simple things that we knew what we actually needed. Let's take a quick look at those. So first one, speed. I'm a developer by trade. I don't want to be waiting months, weeks, or even days in order to get going on a project. If I've got a vision from working with part of a team, I want to be able to produce it now. I want to be able to get to tangible executions really, really quickly. This is true for the clients that we work with as well. They have ever-decreasing windows of opportunity to make an impact in their market for their consumers. It's really tough for them. So speed's absolutely crucial. They're not in any order of performance, but I would say flexibility is probably of more importance to me in particular. As an agency, we expect change. It comes at us from all sides, from the market, from our clients, absolutely from technology. But also internally as well, we drive change. We seek to do new things, to innovate. We've got to have a solution that can address those needs. I would say, certainly over the years, but absolutely now, this is no longer optional. It's absolutely required that you've got that kind of flexibility at your disposal with a solution. Also, I make mistakes. Yeah. Not very often, I'll hasten to add, not least because my boss is sitting right there. And also I have to fix them. So the kind of solutions we need has got to be flexible. They've got to cater for when you're driving at pace through some kind of innovative project, you've got to be able to pivot and change direction at any point and expect that you're going to need to do that. So flexibility, second one, crucial. And then scale. The quality of our output is how we're going to be judged as an agency. This is absolutely paramount for us. So the ability to remove the kind of effort, the risk, and quite frankly, the worry of looking after a solution once it's out there. With due care, due diligence, and attention, I just expect things to work. I expect the performance of the platform to be able to handle the kind of always-on services that we're running or massive spikes, unexpected spikes in user traffic. So scale. Speed, flexibility, and scale. Those are absolutely crucial. Sound familiar? Reasonably familiar? There's a lot of greens. Good. I expected so. Unfortunately, it's not an uncommon problem, is it? So what did we do about it? So as Barack mentioned earlier, we've been looking at App Engine for quite some time, since around 2008 at least, since it was in beta. We looked at a number of solutions, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service. various kind of strange hybrids. A lot of them we still use today, but the one in particular that stood out for me, that really resonated with me because of what it offers, was Google App Engine. Now, the cloud platform team are going to do a much better job of evangelizing the benefits than I will, but I wanted to call out some key things that really why it resonated with me, and then we're going to talk about what we've been able to do with it. The first one is it's easy. Really is. Certainly, well, in my opinion, from a developer point of view, it's easy to get going. There's a very mature community out there now of developers for the platform, but there's great documentation, very helpful and useful use cases available. There's a lot of information out there. Very easy to set up and get going. It's ready. What I mean by that is the people that built the product have really thought about a lot of the pain points that developers go through and also what companies go through operationally. So there's a lot of things that are built in day one. You've seen some of the features already in the previous presentations, but for example, built-in automated scheduled tasks, cron jobs, things like that. Highly configurable task queues, built-in inbound and outbound mail handlers. There's an email address already for my application when I start. That's incredible. I don't have to do anything. Very time-saving as well. It's modular. The more mature approach now, but certainly over the years, is that if you think of a module as perhaps the front end of your website, the presentation of it, within modules you have versions, and then within each version you have instances, and that's where the scale comes in. Now, what's great about that is, if you're the kind of organization that has quite a varied, rich audience, you might need to target particular segments. You might be able to perform A/B testing, for example. It's kind of an old technique now, but it's still employed and still very useful. So the modular approach really allows you to do that. That's where the flexibility comes in. There's a lot of choice. We saw the languages earlier: Java, PHP, Python, and Go. I've built App Engine applications with all of those languages. My preference is Python. This is not a developer conference, so we're not going to go there. There's a lot of choice. I would say it's highly competitive. You saw some amazing information that I wish I'd seen before I wrote this on the pricing, for example. But that's great. There's a lot of choice in terms of the configuration of the instances that you might want to run, whether it's really big, powerful jobs that need high CPU, high memory, but you don't need too many of them, or it's tiny micro jobs that you're running in order to deliver your product, but you need dozens, hundreds of them. And also, I guess lastly, in choice in terms of it doesn't constrain you in terms of your approach as a platform, as a service. It's flexible, which is absolutely the point. So there are some built-in frameworks, but you're allowed to create and implement your own as well, which is great. Highly collaborative, ideal for agile methodologies. We employ agile as a project methodology at Razorfish. It's often termed as that. Sometimes it's with a fixed cost and a fixed deadline, so not agile at all. But we work iteratively, and the collaborative nature of App Engine is such that we can have teams that we can grow, we can expand, so there's scale internally. Also, there's nice little features. I think it was towards the end of last year, there's a new feature added for App Engine, which is a hook into the GitHub source control repository for automated deployments, and that's great. That's a nice little useful, helpful feature. And then the last aspect is scale, X and Y. I'll qualify what I mean by that. X in terms of scaling horizontally with your instances. All of that's already automated and taken care of day one. You can access the very, very useful web dashboard and actually fine-tune those instances. And then in terms of why, we're talking about those opportunities of being able to try different modular server classes for tiny jobs to big jobs and allow those to scale as well. So those are some of the key call-outs for App Engine. Recognize really quickly that this is a key product for us. This is going to really help transform what we do internally. So very quickly, we'll move into, well, what has App Engine actually done for us then? If you combine Razorfish, the agency I work for, 3,000 people plus globally. I don't know, maybe a third of those are in a technology role, developers. If you combine that with App Engine, what does that actually get? Well, over the years, it's changed how we work fundamentally. Truly rapid prototypes. 24-hour apps, that sounds like a very bold claim. I'm going to get in trouble at work tomorrow. What I mean by that is, certainly from a concept and a prototype point of view, we're able to create pieces of work very quickly and very successfully. I'll give you a quick example. A potential client we were talking to some time ago is a book publisher. They sell books online. I won't mention who it is. They came to us with a number of challenges, but one of them was to come up with a new experience, a new consumer experience for search, interactive search, so people could find their products, buy them online. This is a pitch. We don't have access to their services, their systems, or their data. They have a desktop website. They didn't at the time have a mobile website. So what we're going to do, using App Engine, we created some services to collect publicly available information, which is their data, their products. We picked up, typical kind of attributes, the name, the price, the image, and so on. We turned all that data into our own data models, made them queryable, very quickly found new ways to search across their products that didn't currently exist on their own site. We turned that into services and then bolted on a front end that was a responsive, adaptive design that will work on any device. We did that in 24 hours. That's incredible. I don't know many other products where you could actually do that. I don't have the example to show you. We'll see some other examples later on. I think it's allowed us to be very proactive then, which is actually absolutely key for us rather than reactive. Operationally, it's helped as well. We have a service operations team globally and a large representation in the UK looking after infrastructure as a service, for example, for UK, European, and global clients. But also App Engine's given us a different edge in terms of developer operations, where you put responsible people in charge of projects. You keep small, tight teams and keep that light. Sorry, skipped ahead. Lastly, App Engine's grown as we have, particularly over the past 4 years. There's been a lot of change, and that's really pleasing. We're continually addressing the needs of the people actually doing the work with a view to helping the people that make decisions about the business, which could potentially be people like me. You never know. And it's helped drive what we do. We know, as an agency, that showing rather than telling helps win us work. 9 times out of 10, if we go to a potential client with a tangible experience, we've proactively come up with a problem, found a solution, and built it for them, take it into their room and show them it working, as opposed to some static visuals. Wow, that's impressive. It's really engaging. And they certainly want to talk to us more, regardless of the outcome. App Engine has powered 90% of the concept work that we've done. I can't tell you how many of the 4.75 million that are running, but there's a lot, let's say. It's empowered us to conduct more exploratory thinking and driven some new expertise, certainly in the fields of machine learning, personally, for example. And it's helped us create some best-in-class examples of work for many clients. So it's not purely for prototyping. We've gone to production with, for big brands, with big ambitions and big projects, for people like O2, Telefonica, Emirates, BlackBerry. But today, we're going to talk about one in particular. I'm going to show you a sort of shallow dive into a technical case study for Argos. And this is their digital gift guide. So you can see about halfway through. I know I'm between you guys and the break. So there we go. Let's look at the brief real quick then. Pretty simple, pretty challenging. Reimagine the Argos Christmas gift guide for a digital environment in just 3 months. There we go. Some of the highlights from a business need point of view. It's a huge challenge for us. We're kicking off in August 2013 to deliver for Christmas 2013. This is going to be a first for Argos. They have argos.co.uk is well-established commerce site in the UK. I'll assume everyone's aware of it, aware of the brand broadly. If you're not, they're one of the paper catalogue, the original catalogue, dating back to the 70s, is almost a British institution. It's ubiquitous. It's been on coffee tables up and down the country for years. This is well known. People have literally planned and bought products throughout their entire lives using this catalogue. So this is a big deal. And we're going to create a new digital experience for them. It's absolutely crucial that this peak season we don't interrupt our client or their SI, who I'm not going to name. But that's absolutely critical for us. They've got a lot of work to do themselves. They've got their own, they're in the middle of their own business transformation. We can't impact or impede what they're doing. The ask is for a transactional tablet experience for the web, not a native application. Following on from the ubiquity of the paper catalog, we want this to have some reach. tablets being targeted as the ideal mechanism for the browsing experience. And we've got an event-based deadline. There's no option for failure here. Christmas won't be shifted. Also, we combined some of our vision. We're looking to create something very ambitious and provocative from a brand representation. We're envisaging a very rich, inspirational shopping experience. And this needs to be, the application needs to be powered up with some very smart use of business and contextual user data in new and interesting ways. We've got to find a differentiator. We're going to have a very small team to actually deliver this in the 3 months. There's a wider team looking after the whole account, but actually it came down to just eight people, really, multidisciplinary and senior. And that's a mix of creative folks, that's art directors, designers, and then back-end and front-end developers. Actually, in terms of the platform builds, the back-end kind of work, there's only one person. That was me. Just to give you an example in terms of what can be done in the amount of time. We need to work collaboratively with Argos and their SI, and we're going to have an iterative project process. We've got a fixed deadline. So the kind of solution we're going to need in the 3 months, we've got to be able to connect lots of different data sources. We know we're going to be dealing with people, services, and systems, both with our client, their partners, and external parties like Adobe, for example, perhaps for analytics. We know that's coming. We've got to be able to handle thousands of business data changes at a high frequency. This is retail, so we've got to be able to affect price, stock, and other changes really, really quickly, near real time or in real time. We want to be able to capture and play back consumer shopping trends that are happening in real time. What are people actually buying in Birmingham right now? Was one of the questions we asked ourselves. How can we visualize that? We know we're going to need some kind of a custom recommendations engine behind this for this kind of inspiring gift presentation and selection. We need something fast, flexible, scalable. App Engine was our clear choice. And that's in comparison with other services. Perhaps I'm slightly biased, but we know it can do the job. So to give you an idea of the key components that are actually going to make this project a success, App Engine's going to be at the heart of this. That's going to run the show. It's going to connect to all the other services. It's going to handle all the data, it's going to handle all the background processing, and it's going to provide the consumer experience. We're not going to go into the consumer experience today. We'll see some visuals of it, but we're literally pushing the browser to the edge of the, its limits in several ways, certainly from a 2D and 3D animation point of view. But App Engine's behind all of this, powering it. We know we're going to need to connect with our client in terms of data. So that's both transactional services and product data and those kind of things. Interesting challenge. We need to work with our client uses Adobe Site Catalyst for their analytics. So we need to be able to push analytics from consumer behavior point of view into Site Catalyst, seemingly straightforward. But also, we might want to be able to retrieve reporting data to help us understand actually what's happening with their online shopping, what's happening in store. We're also going to use Google Analytics. Now that's mainly because the reason we've got two in there is because we want to be able to look at behavioral usage of our application that we make and make decisions based on that, but without polluting our clients' data. That's absolutely crucial. They've got established processes and reports. Can't impede that. So we're going to plug in Google Analytics as well. We're going to keep a lot of content data, particularly around the recommendations engine within cloud storage, because we're going to be using the prediction API. Lastly, from a small bit of consumer convenience in terms of being able to save progress on your shopping lists and what you're looking at, we're going to plug in Facebook. Seemingly straightforward, it's just Facebook Connect. Okay? Here's our timeline, August to December. To give you an idea, we're just going to go through some key aspects in terms of how we started, how we made progress, what the result was. So you've got an idea of what we actually achieved in the time. So this is not in a linear process kind of way. These are just aspects that I think are really important, and they're kind of how I work as well. So I always start with the data. We're going to then look at querying that data, exposing services, and then start automating things. So to give you an idea, the application, the authentication, the setup is all completed on day one, super fast. We're ready to go. We had access to our clients' APIs and other core business data had been received in terms of what products we're actually going to showcase within the application. I think they have something around 50 to 60,000 products in entirety within Argos. We weren't taking all of those to begin with. We were taking a small subset, many thousands, but not that many. We were very quickly able to, based on their own data schemas and what we know about the brand from their documentation, define the data entities that we're going to need and the relationships between those. There's going to be people, they're going to be buying products, they're going to be putting products into gift lists, and so forth. We created the interfaces to work with the APIs provided from our client and start retrieving the product data and also information about stores. They have as a retailer, they have an offering of buy online and have it delivered, or go ahead and collect in store, which is a great proposition. So we need to know something about stores. All of that was completed week 1. Difficult to visualize, but there's quite a lot of work in there. There's really fast, very flexible approach. Now that we've got some of the data, we're able to start querying it. We quickly discovered, actually, new opportunities. Because we're working outside of our client's platform, and therefore, in many ways, without a lot of constraint, we can start to see new opportunities. For example, this is just one example, we'll be able to filter all of the products that we have by all categories, toys, games, clothes, whatever they are. Then by gender, by age, by price. Those kind of filters don't currently exist on argos.co.uk. We're able to very quickly create new collections of products. Fantastic. The querying that runs behind that is actually automatically generated by App Engine. That's really nice. I don't have to do anything. Fantastic. We also implemented on top of the queries memcache layers so that we're disposable bits and pieces of information so that we're not repeating queries to a data store where we don't need to. Obviously makes sense. We exposed services, so we were somewhat of a SOA approach. We knew that we're delivering a tablet experience, but we wanted to be a bit more forward-thinking. What comes next? Facebook app? Smart TV? Something on your watch? I don't know. We don't know where it's going to go. Services are the way forward. We connected those queries that we'd made with the request handlers. We worked together as a team to define the interfaces. So this is things like, I need to get or set a user. I need to get hold of a product. I need a collection of products with these filters and attributes. We created all of those, dozens of them. We made sure that this is a professional product. It's going to attract attention. So we made sure that the right kind of security measures are in place for a SOA approach. RESTful web services were created for any front end, but for ours. And then we started connecting some functional testing as well. And then lastly, we had a lot of work to do. So really, I want this to be self-sustaining. So we built in, based on the built-in features like cron, task queues, and so on, we built in hooks for managing a number of things. For example, a lot of the products for the gift guide weren't going to be available right at the start. They were going to arrive throughout October, September, because our client is still sourcing them. They're going to be brand new, ready for the season. So we need to expect them to arrive based on the services that we've connected and drop in seamlessly into the data and into the queries and then into the services. Very frequent product repricing and reindexing. And critically, being able to back up all that data. Another great built-in feature, immediately back up to cloud storage, your critical business data. I think that took me 5 minutes to switch that on. That's incredible. Task queues for, whilst we're in development, limiting the transactional APIs, so checking stock, creating orders, and so on. And also, we were quite smart about from a performance point of view, is that because we could see all those combinations of queries that we had, we could go ahead and programmatically pre-cache them. Let's start generating them in the back end, so that when people hit the site, or hit the application, and they start looking for things, you don't have the what some people call the poor sod syndrome, where someone has caused the query that's going to have to go to the database, come back, and then it's cached, and everyone else can enjoy it after that. We wanted to remove that, so ahead of time, let's make sure we've cached a lot of those queries. And then it was very easy to build in, because we were expecting this to be self-sustaining. Well, I want to know when something goes wrong. Obviously, we need to know. So we'll handle exceptions and notifications in such a way that we can ping out an email alert if an API fails for any reason, or if an important job's been complete. Dead easy. Okay. Into September. I'll give you an idea now of how the visuals are taking shape In case you haven't seen the final product, we've got a video coming shortly so you can actually see what we created. But this is quite a departure from a brand and experience point of view. Let's dive into 4 sections quickly. This is a trend board. The idea within your tablet, you have an infinitely scrolling grid of products. We can scroll in every direction, zoom in and focus on particular products that take your fancy, with the kind of filters that you might expect for, well, just show me stuff for men or women. There's male, female, gender toggle there. Show me stuff that's on sale, or a price slider with minimum and maximum set based on what we know about the data. Pretty straightforward. In terms of how you find products, they're the traditional kind of categories. Let me stand this side, it's a bit easier. Gaming, homeware, jewelry, novelty gifts, technology, and so on. But also, we were expecting this to be an inspirational guide. So there are also carefully curated trends, collections of products that we're going to manually apply. And also, we're expecting a recommendation to start coming up with ideas for how to group products as well and push those straight out to the app for everyone to enjoy. There's a quick example of what a product detail page might look like, with the kind of information you'd expect. And then the basket. This is great in that it's because you're connected to Facebook, you can go ahead and create shopping lists for your family, your friends. If you're a dad with 2 kids, you can go ahead and create shopping list for child A and child B. Maybe even hand over the tablet app to them. Create a filter of products for them that they can actually go and choose from, everything under £20, whatever that filter might be. And they can go ahead and add products themselves. Why not? That sounds like a fun way to do things. You can group all of those together, buy them individually or all at once. And as a transactional application, actually buy, order online with Argos, have it delivered, or go pick it up. We'll skip through some other key things that happened throughout September and into launch, which is mid-October. So in terms of what we were doing with trends, we're not going to go, I can't go into too much detail, because we're going to use it again, and I don't want you guys to know. But we were able to smartly combine business data, a lot of our analytics, behavioral usage, and then different aspects of user context, so this simple ones like location, but also their browsing history, to start surfacing products that are trending around the country, certainly regionally, but also perhaps that are, in other ways as well. It's quite a cyclical process. The more people were browsing, the more data we were capturing, the more we were able to feed and update directly back into those trend boards, those categories, which is great. Now the application's running itself. Let's get a beer and go home. Unfortunately, there's more work to do. We're also able to create very quickly a custom administration tool for our client and ourselves for key merchandising opportunities. If they wanted to switch out one of the trends that are available, we'll zoom in on the pictures real quick. As an example, one of the trends called Bold and Beautiful is a collection of products that aren't absolutely in the same category. They're there for a reason. They're striking, or they have some kind of attributes in common. Our client wants to be able to merchandise those opportunities with dozens or even hundreds of these trends, bearing in mind that you can scroll on a grid and discover them. We had an interesting challenge with a tool that we called the Gift Finder. To give you an idea of what this was about, it was an inspirational way to filter products, essentially. Users were presented with a series of photos, lifestyle imagery, and they were able to choose between one or the other, this or that, the image that most closely represented the interests of their loved ones, the person that they were buying this for. The images were tagged against products and given a unique scoring system. So depending on the images that you chose, you'd get a different set of results. Give you a quick idea of what it looks like. So there's an image on the left, an image on the right. You go through a sequence of selecting them. When you're ready, you can see we've got the results at the top there. You just jump straight into the results, which would bring you back a collection of products that we broadly would associate with the kind of person that you're looking for. That's a new and inspirational way of browsing. It kind of works. It's good fun. We need to be able to test it. That's really easy to do. We've already established our data entities and our queries, but it's very easy to update those, re-index the data store, and update the memcache on the fly. Certainly in terms of re-indexing, that's crucial. You can do that offline in terms of what's actually being presented live to a consumer. We're still in development at this point. We need to be able to test and learn, and that was a great way of getting going for a nice feature. The use of predictions, the prediction API, we want to be able to present, again, this is the product detail page, gift ideas. How do we go about doing that? Well, we were able to rapidly create prediction models and generate data. Actually, what I found was the first version was way too precise. It was coming back with known relationships or recommending the product that I was already looking at. Now, the problem's not the API. The problem was in front of the screen, the person doing the work. So, but because of the nature of the application and the easiness, the ease of connectivity with the API, the prediction API, via the SDK that Google provide, we're able to rapidly refine and improve very iteratively that piece of work. Within hours and days as well. We're not talking weeks here. And lastly, cracking challenge, we needed to be able to get some real data into our app. It's not live yet. It's not out there. We need to be able to make the trends, the collections, and the predictions more relevant. Argos have got a fantastic wealth of analytics. But at the time, we couldn't get programmatic access to Site Catalyst. And that wasn't a technical issue. That was more of an operational issue. So we need a lot of their business data. So that could be orders of a particular product, the units sold, maybe even the revenue, what would be relevant from a recommendations engine point of view. But we couldn't get hold of it. So our simple solution, I think, is quite a quick and clever workaround that shows the flexibility and the power of App Engine, which is, we know that the Adobe tool has a mailer feature. You can send out reports. You know, the kind of analytics reports people receive daily, weekly, depending on the kind of job you're in. App Engine's got built-in inbound mail handlers out of the box, day one. Fantastic. We were able to create a back-end task to receive an email from the Adobe tool with a zip file containing the reports that we wanted, unpack it, and push that data into the prediction models. We did that in 2 hours. Super fast workaround, and we were able to keep going at pace. So the final result, what did it look like? Let's take a look at the finished product. Fun. I've got to stop it there because we're running out of time. There's only a little bit left. So what happened? What was the outcome? That panic station feature did incredibly well. So just to recap on the last thing that you saw there, Argos had a home delivery service that was going to deliver until late on Christmas Eve, long after people like Amazon and so on had finished. We were able to connect real-time product availability in store, the stock availability of products, in order to provide targeted and relevant results. And that's per user, per store, not quite unique. But you'd really be able to find something that you wanted less than £20 for someone who likes games actually in my town. Fantastic. A couple of screenshots there very quickly. How did it do? It was busy. just in the pre-Christmas week, million visits and page views. It's a single page application, HTML5 style. So there's many more impressions generated than that, but very busy. It's reliable. We didn't have any problems with the application. It barely raised an eyebrow with that kind of usage. Very engaging. This is crucial for us. The dwell time average of people using it was over 3 minutes. People really enjoyed playing with it and using it and creating collections of gifts. It was quite sticky. People came back and spent even longer. And that panic station feature increased our conversion by 600%, 6 times. It's amazing. Great feature. And we've used it again for that client. There was some great industry buzz and press. I think that's probably my favorite line there. To sign off then, we started off on a story around App Engine, but actually what we've been able to, now that we're connecting closer with the rest of the cloud platform, it's a bit like, in terms of a relationship metaphor that we started with, meeting the in-laws and the rest of the family and knowing that they actually get along with each other and play nice with each other, which is great. It's a powerful family, and one I think you should know. Now that I've completely ruined your brand representation, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for listening. Enjoy the rest of Google Atmosphere.